Okay, so I just wanted to talk about the NGS rankings. So the NGS rankings, it stands for National Grading System. I think it stands for System. National Grading System. So if we type in NGS rankings, okay, and then we get this EBU. We click on this. So this is basically a ranking of all the registered. So EBU, you have to be registered with the English Bridge Union. Okay, National Grading Scheme. Okay, not system. National Grading Scheme, NGS. So this is the individual's leaderboard. Okay, so Ollie Burgess, who used to be Manchester, now in Oxford, is now 69.22. So he's quite clear, actually, of everyone else, actually. Well done, Ollie. Okay, so, yeah, good stuff from Ollie. He's nearly over. Well, some people used to be over 70 and stuff like that in the past. So I'm currently down in the dumps. No, I'm down in the Ace of Diamonds League. But because I've hardly played recently, I'm not what's known as a mature grade. You have to play a certain amount of boards, okay, to become a mature grade. So mature grade, you have to play 1,000 boards, okay, so 1,000 hands of bridge within a set period. I can't remember what the period is now. It might be 5 years, might be 3 years, I'm not sure. So basically, scores go off. So you have 1,000 boards, and then these boards fall off, and then new ones come on. So if you've got 1,000, then old scores will fall off, and you'll be based on the last 1,000. So I don't currently have 1,000 boards because I basically hardly play. I only play teams pretty much now. So I only play when I do the Northern Bridge League, then I'll get scored on that. Although that's a teams game, what they can do is they can score it as a pairs event. So that's pretty much my only scores. And very occasionally when Tracy nags me for a game. Okay, so evolving grades are just 150 boards. So if I click on the evolving, it'll change. Okay, so you can see here, these are people who've played over 150 boards. So clearly, when you've got a smaller sample, it's possible to get a higher score. So you see some people here have got, so William Crook here has got 75 score. Okay. Boy Brogland, obviously. Brogland, 74.43. Andrew Robson. Okay, so obviously Andrew Robson just plays in teams games a lot now. He won't play much. And so, you know, he's not going to score for over 1,000 boards because he's probably teaching and just doing playing teams all the time and not playing any duplicate pairs. So that's why his score is evolving, because he hardly plays, just like myself. So there's quite a lot of evolving grades. Now, what am I? 63 something. Oh, I'm an Ace of Diamonds. Ah, look here. Zia Mahmood, for instance. He's only 179th now, 64.38. What am I? 63 point something. Where am I? I'll just look out for the brown, grey figures, don't we? There we go. So there you go. That's me, John Stell. Manchester, 63.68, 253rd, basically, in the country. Okay, you got Jason Hackett's fallen down a little bit now. So it's interesting to see a few sort of names that have changed around a bit. Yeah, okay. John Brearley recently played in something in the Northern League. John, I think, 64.15. So this is the NGS. So you'd simply put in your name. Okay, so you put in your surname, do a search. Okay, and it comes up all the names. And you see here the grayed out ones are evolving. And there you go. So you got Mark Smith. Okay, who does the bridge winners column. I'm guessing it's that Mark Smith, yeah. Nicola Smith, who plays for England. Okay. And if you don't want your, this is a public record, so unless you want your name removed from this, so this is all out in the open, so all these people are happy to publish their information, so it's all public information. So you'll get a ranking from Ace of Spades to Ace of Hearts, Ace of Diamonds, Ace of Clubs. Then it starts going in kings. It doesn't go King of Spades, King of Hearts, King of Diamonds, King, you know, and so forth. So it just goes with all the 4 aces, and then kings all the way down to. So Smith will obviously go down to a 2. So Nigel Smith here, poor old Nigel Smith, has got a ranking. His NGS is 28.86. Okay. So what this means is, so your average is obviously going to be 50. So it's putting all these players in a bell curve, okay, with most of the players are going to be around 50, and all the exceptional ones, so the worst players right at the bottom, there are not going to be many of them, and the top players at the other end of the bell curve, higher up, obviously. So this is just for England, okay? So a national grading system scheme, sorry, for England. It just doesn't apply for Scottish. I don't know if the Welsh are in here as well. I'm not sure. So this is a national grading scheme. So it can just it sees how you're doing over 150 boards or 1,000 if you're evolving. So you've got to get up to 150 to be evolving. Is that right? Yeah, 150. So you're not even going to be counted. So you've got to get to 150 before you can get a score. So if you're a beginner player, you've also got to play in a duplicate where it actually gets scored and sent off. Certain beginners won't actually get scored. So you have to play on a certain night where you get scored. Now, so if you're a 50, what happens is you'll see various people at your club and you'll have different scores, okay, different levels of skills, okay? So you'll have people who are 55, you might have people who are 42. So if you beat people at 55, your NGS should go up, all right? So if you if you're a 50 and you play someone who's a 55 and you beat them, it's a little bit like a squash ladder. You'll go up, you won't go up to 55 in a bit, but you'll go up a small percentage of that. So you might be, if you beat someone who's a 55 and you're a 50, it might go up to 55.3, something like that. Okay. And then obviously then the gap will be slightly smaller now because you've gone up a bit, and you won't, if you beat them the next time by the same amount, you won't go up as much because the gap is not as big. So if you beat someone who's the same as you, then you'll go up a bit. All right. So if you beat someone who's really good, then you'll go up a lot more because the gap's bigger. Okay. So that's kind of how the NGS works, roughly speaking. And it's 1,000 boards, and those results start dropping off as you add more on. Okay. And then you've got partnerships. So going on here, you can choose your county. So, oh, I don't think you can. Why is it not choosing? Let's do style. Oh, I don't know. Okay, don't know what's going on. My EBU. So I've not got many sessions here. So I've just got basically played with Tracy, as you can see here. So if you have a look at the last four results, I played with Tracy and I've only played with Steve. I've hardly played. So in 2022, I've only played 4 times in any NGS ranked sort of events. So I've done well with Steve. Only slightly a poor score there. So if you look at the par score, basically here we've done well, here we've done well, here just kind of pretty much average. And as you can see, playing with Tracy was a total disaster. Okay, so what you get here is the SOP. So that's the standard of the opposition. So what we're saying here is when I played in the Northern Bridge League with Steve, we got a plus 56 score. This is imps. And the standard of the opposition means that everyone's 60. Okay, the standard is an average of 60. In this one, the average was 61.2. And again, here it's over 60 again in this one. So the Northern Bridge League, everyone's a 60. Now you can see here, when I played at Bury Athenry Bridge Club, which is my local club, we only finished with a score of 50. Tracy had an absolute nightmare and did crazy stuff. And so we absolutely did terrible. So the standard of the opposition is 47.5. So this is a local club, 47. And generally speaking, local clubs in England will pretty much be like this. The standard of the opposition will be about, well, this is pretty low. I mean, you could have 49 and things like that. Quite often they'll be around 50. You're just getting regular club players who I call classes just pushing cards around, all right? Not really playing proper bridge, okay? But they still managed to do pretty well against us on that day because Tracy was having a nightmare. So here we got absolutely murdered. We're 13 points off par. So in other words, what we need to do on this one, we need to score 63.8. So when you're working out your scores at the end of the night, we had to get a score of 63.8 just to remain level. Okay, we have to get 63.8. So we have, if we're going to move up, we need to get a score of 70% or something like that. So just to remain level, to keep our NGS level, we've got to get a score of 63.86 on this particular night. So if we don't get that, if we don't get 63.8, we start losing NGS. So here, my score went from 64.56 below 64. Okay, I think. So that was a total disaster. Not quite sure why this is sort of going up. So this is that's basically NGS. So have a look at your NGS ranking, and just type it in. And you can also get so if you just type it again, actually, NGS ranking. So if you have a look at, so the only one I've got is with me and Steve, really. So because I've just hardly played for 3 years. What you can do, you can do partnerships as well. Okay, partnerships and evolving grades. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of grade ones. Okay, most of them are grade ones, are higher ones, because obviously you're more likely to get a higher score if you're just an evolving one. So what are we? Me and Steve are, where are we? We're here. So we're the 70. So according to this, me and Steve are the 73rd best pairing in England, and maybe Wales. I don't know if it's Wales as well. So me and Steve are the 73rd on an evolving grade in the country. So we're currently an Ace of Hearts as a partnership. Okay, but other people are getting over 70. Okay, for being at the top. So obviously, the more we play, the likelihood is we might drop down a bit on an average kind of score. It'd be hard to maintain a very high level. Okay, not necessarily the case, but that's possible. Okay. If you have a look at the very top players who are in white as partnerships, so if we take off the, so if we just put the mature grades, you can see a lot of these as kind of England players. So Mike Bell, Ben Norton, Kieran Dyke, Michael Byrne. Okay, you know, they recently played for England. Sally Brock. Okay, Alan Mould and John Holland recently played in the Gold Cup final. Okay. Neil Rosen was in, I think, the quarterfinals in there or something. So so that's the NGS. So once you've played enough times, you can search your name, okay, and sort of see where you're at. All right. This is a good way of sort of seeing how good a player you are compared, because you're comparing against everyone else. In the old way of looking at things, players just used to have master points. So all that means is you'd score points depending on your position. So if you come in the top 3 or top 4, depending on the size of the field on that particular night or day, you'd get master points awarded. Usually I think it's the top third of the field, something like that, get master points. So if there's 12 pairs, then there'll be 4 people paid out, as it were. Okay, fourth would get 10 points, third would get 20 points, second would get 30 points, and first would get 40 points. And they just call master points, and the local points if you do a normal club night. And that would just build up. Okay, just build up. They don't ever disappear. You've got them for life. You can't get them taken away. With this NGS, your score can come down as you don't play as much, or you play worse, your score will come down. So with master points, this is what you need to become a grandmaster, where you're just collecting points. So it's not really a level of skill being a grandmaster. It just means you've played a lot. Okay, obviously if you play well, you're more likely to get master points because you're more likely to win. But you could just play a lot. If you play morning, noon, and night, then you're going to get a lot of master points, and doesn't mean you're that good potentially. Okay, you could still not be the greatest player. Most grandmasters will be good players, though. That's so yeah. So that's NGS, and that's sort of something about master points in England. I'm sure they have different grading systems in Scotland and different ones in America. So there we have. Hope that you found that interesting.